I sort of have a big mouth anyway, so I don't need a mic. All right, so I was a little bit sort of perplexed about what I was going to talk about regarding today, and I always feel that when you start a conversation with Donald Trump, the first thing that you should say, or has become the social norm, is that you don't approve of him, and you are against him, and you don't like him, and all the rest of the things. And I'm not here to kind of talk about that so much, but more like entertain a thought. Because it is easy to talk about him negatively. I mean, he makes it very easy for all of us. I don't know whether he's doing it by accident or it just turned out that way. Okay, but I was thinking about some inspiration as to, you know, what is it if you could just sum up Trump in one word? And I asked a few of my colleagues, and this is what they came up with. And, you know, this is what I got. I was a bit biased. I did all ask just only academics. So, you know, this is what they had to say. All right, and yes, Mark,
that's where Hillary got it wrong.
So I agree, you know, with Michael and Leslie and Mark in the sense that, yes, we can't underestimate him, and yes, maybe he will go down as the most unpopular president in history, but he is president nevertheless. You know, and you know, that's, I suppose on the outside is this shock that you have someone that stands quite tall as the, not only a billionaire that he is, but the richest and oldest president that the United States has ever seen. And the question many are still asking, and maybe still seeming quite shocked, is how can that be? And, you know, some people might conclude that, you know, one should never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. Okay? And perhaps that's an easy way of looking at it. But there's just one thing that I'm left wondering, is that if many intelligent people, and, you know, maybe I'm giving too much credit to intelligent people, but is that if someone like him, you know, if we have underestimated that appeal, or the fact that someone like him might actually have been a welcome force, okay, because it's refreshing to some extent that he entered. So, and I think that one of the ways in which it might have been underestimated is the way in which his interest in becoming president was treated like a spectacle from the very start. And, you know, I'm talking about spectacle being the operative word here, that something to be laughed at, something that everybody could ridicule, something that is something as a form of entertainment, whether it's on social media or so on and so forth. And even someone like Obama, in fact, the way that he responded to Donald Trump when he asked about the birth certificate, it was, you know, at the dinner, I'm sure some of you might have seen in the video, he showed the video of Lion King and said, this is, you know, this is how I came into this world. Even that was made a joke of, okay? So there is a form of entertainment that's involved. So he might have been, or remains unpopular, but he brings entertainment. And entertainment in itself is popular with people. Everybody likes that, whether it's, you know, seeming quite sort of controversial and so on and so forth. But something as well that people could joke about him, and that, you know, it's never going to happen. And the same thing would be in the case that you think now people begin to wonder that if we underestimated him, does that mean that the next president could be someone even like Kanye West that people laugh about? Because, you know, they've seen them two shake hands and so on and so forth. So we don't know. But anyone who is anyone has had a part to play in this spectacle, okay, which has involved a lot of humor, a lot of entertainment, and it's evident in even some of the images that I just wanted to share with you, which I'm sure maybe you've seen as well. But it's just a bit of a flavor of documenting this spectacle that's taken place. So this is before he even became president. You know, we're just acknowledging that, yes, you know, we do have a problem. And, of course, that was in September 2015. And then, even in The Spectator, you have all the cartoons. I mean, we see all of these things kind of all through social media all the time. You know, then you've taken Obama's iconic poster that came with hope, and then it's like, well, no, not anymore. You know, give that up. Okay? And then you also have the protests against Trump. All right? But ultimately, it went ahead anyway, and he's in charge, including of the Twitter world as well. even if it is so much of a smokescreen, but the fact is that people are interested in the tweets that he has to make. Then, once it obviously came to light, after there was all the moral outrage and shock, it's, can't believe this has happened, what's actually going on out there? And then, there's all these jokes, inappropriate they might be, but, using Miley Cyrus's infamous song Wrecking Ball, so pardon the pun, but there you have it. And then, let's bring Obama back, because apparently when Obama was there, everything was okay. And then all graffiti as well, so you have these emojis and so on, and then here as well. And then you have also in this case an artist by the name of Courtney Privet, who's pointing to all the wrongdoings linked to Trump, who's supposed to be at the bottom right in the boat, okay, and maybe trying to sort of highlight that we have to still persist to try and do the right thing, because ultimately Trump's hate. And then there's of course lots of celebrities, particularly female celebrities, expressing their disdain for him in ways more than one. And then images of him with his family and so on and so forth, and obviously been photoshopped, because I'm sure he wouldn't really want his family to be dressed that way. And I'm not going to talk about his family, so it's not that, but just, in the end, it just leaves me wondering, who are the real sort of clowns in all of this? Because for a long time he has been depicted as a clown. Lots of people have said, he's crazy or he's stupid and so on and so forth. But I just have to remind you that he is the President of the United States. So let's not forget that. And these images are not just kind of just show that there is, behind all of the comedy, there is those serious questions. And, this doesn't even begin to highlight the number of times his speeches have been ridiculed, and perhaps rightly so, and also shared by mainstream media, and maybe people even in the audience. Maybe you've seen such things and maybe sort of shared it on Facebook or social media, that this is what Trump has said. Can you believe him? And you have that moral outrage. But the point is, whether it's politicians or A-list celebrities or even the public have all united against Trump, and whether it is through these empowering speeches as a way of demonstrating that there's no room for whatever that is he presents or promotes, that culture of fascism or racism or sexism and so on and so forth. But this ongoing and rampant spectacle is also met with a lot of hypocrisy. And that is what I feel that I'm just trying to entertain here, that thought of hypocrisy. Too many times we have seen and continue to see that behind closed doors, that many respectable people can and do partake in all sorts of immoral activities. And, we can see it in cases of sexual harassment, very recently in the Harvey Weinstein example. Okay, we see it in terms of even racial, whether it's within academia even, within higher education, there is always news of the kind of mistreatment that is represented, or all kinds of institutions. Or even if you think about in terms of the army or the police, responsible for all forms of human rights, violation of human rights. And when it comes down to people, and I'm including all of us in that dialogue, is that are we not, as a people, tired and sick of being in a lesson on ethics by those that we suspect that might be quite highly corrupt themselves? And I feel that Donald Trump does bring that to the forefront. And perhaps what made him so appealing to many people is that in some way or the other he breaks down that facade or hypocritical way of addressing real social issues. And that's not to say that he himself is not heavily involved, but it's the fact that he does break it down. And very recently I came across a postcard that's written by Paul Valery, and it states, "Politics is the art of preventing people from taking part in affairs which properly concern them." And it got me thinking that quite often political language used by, as Mark described, seasoned politicians, or the PC etiquette as executed by them, has never really been for the masses. It's not really been there to understand that articulate language, and language in itself can be a powerful tool by which we can bury a lot of controversial, a lot of economic issues that really concern us. And what differentiated him from the conventional Democrats and Republicans and politicians everywhere is the fact that he's not PC at all. I mean, for that reason, Trump's own politics enables even the most inarticulate people to have their say on politics, even if they've never been interested. So I'm taking that quote and I'm saying that perhaps politics has been the art of preventing people from taking part in affairs, but his politics has enabled just about anyone who is anyone to permit them to have taken part in these conversations, to have an opinion on him. And question then is, so maybe it does mean that we have entered into this state of crisis, and perhaps we are hitting real rock bottom and that he is a problem, but because I don't want to sound cynical, I'll just think of J.K. Rowling in the sense that when she said, rock bottom became the solid foundation of which I rebuilt my life. And maybe that's what's needed here. You know, maybe we need a reboot. Maybe we need a solid foundation on which we can begin to rebuild, but without celebrating or entertaining the spectacle, or at least endorsing it. To look beyond that, and of course, you know, to start, we probably do need to hit rock bottom first. And I'm not quite sure if we're there, or we still need to go a little bit further. But that's what I just had to say. So thanks for your time.